Welcome back to another geometric multiplication lesson. I noticed that last week we had quite a bit of trouble following along or understanding what we were doing. And even though I gave the lesson a couple more times and answered specific questions, I feel like for some of us it would be helpful to review and revisit some of these ideas. And so I'm going to bring us into another share screen here and look at our math journals. So here I have my math journal. Sorry, I was trying to get that up a little bit more. Okay, so after my multiples lesson was the geometric multiplication that we did together. So I know the lesson video had a fairly complex equation, but the ones we did together during the lesson were a little more simple and easier to follow. So what I want to do is I want to do some of these in a lesson that's recorded. So those of you who are working through them on your own have some additional help. Okay, so let me switch my view so you can see the computer, so you can see this bigger. Okay, so these examples we did together, I'm going to just continue on this side of the paper, and that's what you would do too. If your work takes more than one piece of paper, then you would just move on to the other side. I think that I'll be able to write in pencil. Usually I write in pen for the video, but I think that you will be able to see, you'll be able to see the pencil as we're doing this. Okay, so I want to start with another easy one. Let's try a single digit times a single digit, and I'll show you what we're going to do. So let's do 6 times 4. And so we're looking at 6 times 4. So our first number right here, this number is called our multiplicand. It's the number we're starting with. And this is 6 units. And so I'm going to make a line, a horizontal line that is 6 units long. I'm going to start right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This line is 6 units. I'll count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see there's 6 of them. The length of that line is 6 units. And we're going to be multiplying by this number 4, and that number is called our multiplier. And the multiplier goes on this side of the box we're creating. It's the vertical line. And we count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is the line. It's 4 long. There it is. Now, the next step is that we're going to create a rectangle using those two sides. This side is 6, and this side is 4. And because these are units, this is 6 units and times 4 units, all of these in here are units. And so I'm coloring them green because you guys know when we're doing material work in the classroom that units are always represented by green. So here we have our units. Now let's count up how many units we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There are 24 units in this box. I'm going to hold it closer so you can see. Do you see how I counted each of the little squares that were made? So I went across 6 squares on the bottom and 4 squares on the side to get our 6 times 4, and then I counted how many squares were in between there. Let's do another one. This time let's do a 2-digit number. Let's do 12 times 3. Okay, 12 times 3. We first have to look at our unit, and our unit in this example is a 2. And so we're going to start with a line that's 2 long. We're going to start here and we're going to go 1, 2, and that is 2. That matches this right here. 2. Okay, now we're going to look at our 10. In our tens place, we have 1 and it is blue because our 10s are blue. So when we connect this line, we have 1 10, and our 10s are going to be blue. Okay, so we've drawn our horizontal line, or our multiplicand line. Now we need to draw our multiplier line. Our multiplier is also a unit. So we're going to count up 3. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 on that side. Those are units. I'm going to connect it across. Okay, so now we make a box. We have 2 units by 3 units, and those are all green because that's a unit and a unit. And then we have our 10 times our unit, and our 10, we just have 1 of those. So our box looks like that. Okay, now we just need to count up all of the things in our spaces. Let's count up our units first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 units. Let's count up our 10s. 1, 2, 3 10s, or you could count them as 10s. 10, 20, 30. We have 6 units plus 3 10s. 6 plus 0 is 6, 3. The answer to 12 times 3 is 36. There's our answer. Okay, let's try another one. I'm going to put a little box around the work we've already done so that we can keep our work space tidy. Okay, let's do another 2-digit number. Let's look at what happens if we do this. Let's see if we do 5. I'm going to write the equation right here. I'm going to draw it a different way. No, I'm going to do it the same way. 5 times 23. 5 times 23. So we're going to look at this one. 5 is our multiplicand. So that's the number that goes on the bottom. The multiplicand, the first number, goes on the bottom. So let's start. I'm going to move us over this way a little bit. Starting from this point, I'm going to count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is our multiplicand, and it goes right there. And those are units. Okay, now we're going to look at our multiplier. The second number is our multiplier. The unit of our multiplier is 3. And so we're going to count up 3. 1, 2, 3. And those are units. You can draw your boxes at this point if you want. Those are our units times our units. And now we need to look at our 10. Here's our 10. We have 2 10s, and that's part of our multiplier. So we count up 1, 2 more, and these are 10s. And then we can connect our box. Okay, I'm going to color our units in green. And then I'm going to color our 10s in blue. And now we just count up what we have. Let's count up our units. And I think you probably all already know how to count by 5s. And we know that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. So if we have 5, 10, 15 units. So I'm going to put our math equation up here. 15 units. And now we're going to count up our 10s. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each row. So 5, 10 10s. And you might already know what 10 10s is, but let's count them. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10 10s equals 100. And now we're going to add that together. 5 plus 0 is 5. 1 plus 0 is 1, and 1. The answer to 5 times 23 is 115. There's our answer. I guess I didn't show you this. This one came to here, and this one came to here. Okay, so I hope that you're seeing that this isn't as hard as maybe it seemed because I chose a really big number to get us started. You can do this work for any multiplication problem. It doesn't have to be a big equation. It could be a small equation. It could be 6 times 4. It could have been 5 times 4. It could be 12 times 3 or 23 times 4. Oh, 23, that's funny. I didn't even notice I did that. So what I want you to know is that this work doesn't have to be hard. The hardest part is learning how to set up your rectangle. And some of the follow-up I saw had the rectangles drawn, but then not counted correctly. And some of the follow-up I saw had just random rectangles drawn and labeled very strangely. And so it's very, very important that you're counting over exactly how many squares you want on your side, because that's how you can count them. If you're just making a line and adding a label to it, you can't use that to help you do the work. And this isn't meant to be tricky. It's not meant to be hard. It's meant for you to be able to see exactly how to solve the equation without having to memorize or use a calculator or ask for help. Because as you saw, we were able to solve all of these just by counting. And every one of us can count. So I introduced a couple new words, and I want to add those here. And so for your follow-up this week, I want you to add this to this page of your journal because I'll be talking about these words. The first number in a multiplication equation is called the multiplicand. The multiplicand is the first number in a multiplication equation, and then you multiply it by the multiplier. The multiplicand is multiplied times the multiplier. And the answer to a multiplication problem is called the product. And you might sometimes be asked, what's the product of 5 and 6? That question is asking you to multiply 5 times 6 because the product is just the answer in a multiplication problem. So the I'm going to label it on, I'm going to make a new one. I'll do it down here. 6 times 4 equals 24. And then I'm going to label them with colors so that you can see. I'm going to pick 2 different colors so it doesn't get us confused with our hierarchical colors. Ooh, purple and orange, that's going to look weird together. So our multiplicand is the first number. Multiplicand is the first number. The multiplier is the second number. And the product is the answer. In a multiplication problem, you start with the multiplicand, you multiply it by the multiplier, and your answer is the product. So when you're doing geometric multiplication, I'll draw it down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The multiplicand goes on the bottom. And then the multiplier goes up the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the answer is what is inside. The product is inside. So I hope that makes sense. The multiplicand is the bottom. The multiplier is your side. And the product is what's inside. So I'm hoping that this helps you with how to set up your equations. I hope that seeing a few more examples of this helps you with solving some of these equations. And I can't wait to see the work that you do this week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.